Hello, welcome to Acoustics Derivations. In this video, we will be talking about power, specifically, of course, acoustic power, or I should say, time averaged power. So this will be a really quick one, so let's dive right into it. So we define power, again, acoustic time average power, as W, because usually we think of power as P, but P is pressure in acoustics. So W is the surface integral over intensity dotted with ds, where ds is equal to n dot ds without the vector, where n is the outward normal. Now, if the intensity vector and the outward normal to the surface are parallel, then we can write this as simply I times S. So, so power is a scalar quantity. Okay. So if we consider an omnidirectional outgoing spherical wave. So for an example, consider an omnidirectional spherical outgoing wave. Okay. And we're going to let S be the surface of a sphere of radius r with a source in the center. Okay. So in this case, we have a source, and let's assume that source to be like a point source or a monopole, just for simplicity's sake, though it doesn't change the result. But the intensity is always going to be parallel to the outward normal of the surface. So we can use this form I times S, and we can think about that, so if here's the surface, here's our source in the center. Again, we're just, for the example, we're considering a point source, just it's easier, but this holds for like if you had a piston source, as assuming that you're far enough away such that the intensity vector and the normal vector, the outward normal vector, were parallel, of course. So the sound is going, out, and so we have the intensity vector parallel to the normal vector. So if we do that, we can say that work is I times S. And what's the surface area of a sphere? Well, that is 4 pi r squared, and then of course we have I. So if you're looking at a hemisphere instead of a fully spherical source, what would be the power in that case? So I want to mention, and so I'll let you figure that one out for yourself. Consider, a rigid bottom, a source, and then a hemisphere. What's the power? What's the power there? So I want to mention before the video is over here that so if we're looking at a lossless medium, it turns out that the power generated by the source is actually undiminished after the wave has been transmitted some arbitrary distance r. As such, so if medium is lossless, we have that power is equal to a constant. Thus, as R increases, so must I decrease. As R increases, I decreases inversely. So if you're looking at the spherical case, it varies inversely as the square. So intensity varies inversely as the square for this spherical case. However, when losses do exist, the acoustic power is not actually conserved. Some of the energy is converted to heat, and then intensity actually decreases at a faster rate. So for the example of a that we looked up here, it decreases more rapidly than 1 over r squared, depending, of course, the magnitude of it depends on the loss, how lossy, I should say, the system is. So that was a quick and easy discussion on acoustic power. Again, this is the time average power because intensity is time average typically. So yeah, thank you.